Hello friends, in this video we are going to see about figure of speech. Figure of speech means words or phrase used in non-literal sense to create vivid effect or rhetorical effect. So watch this video carefully till the end. Let's see figure of speech one by one. First of all, we will see about simile. In this figure of speech simile, we used word like, and two things are compared using word like. Example is, she is like fairy. Look at this sentence, she is like fairy. Here, she is compared with fairy using word like. Means here two things are compared using like. She and fairy. These two things are compared using word like. Now next figure of speech, metaphor. This metaphor figure of speech is like simile, but here like, as, so, these words are omitted. Here two things are compared, but omission of like, as and so. Example is, he is a lion. Example is, he is a lion. Look at this sentence. He here compared with lion. But I don't use here like, as, so, these words to show comparison. Means here we should remember this thing, omission of like, as, so in metaphor. Let's see next figure of speech, personification. It shows person's character or person's nature. Personification. Let's see example. Example, little sorrows sit and weep. Little sorrows sit and weep. Here sitting and weeping, both qualities of human, both qualities of persons. So this is personification because this sentence showing human qualities, nature of human. Next example of personification is, the dish ran away with the spoon. The dish ran away with the spoon. In this sentence, we are watching human quality, ran away. So this is personification, and we can identify easily personification in these sentences or lines because in those sentences we can see human's nature or person's nature or qualities. Let's see next figure of speech. Next figure of speech is metonymy. Metonymy means is meant for change of the names. Metonymy is meant for a change of name. Examples are, from a cradle to the grave. From the cradle to the grave. Look at this sentence. Real meaning of this sentence is from childhood to death. From childhood to death. Means here names are changed. Means metonymy. Next example of metonymy is I had never read Milton. I had never read Milton. Meaning of this sentence is I didn't read work of Milton. Means here names are changed. I used Milton instead of work of Milton. So this is example of metonymy. Next figure of speech is apostrophe. Apostrophe. Apostrophe means apostrophe. This figure of speech shows direct address to inanimate things or an idea. Means apostrophe. Example of apostrophe is boy's mother love him very much. Boy's mother love him very much. This is example of apostrophe because here direct address for inanimate things. This is apostrophe because in this sentence we are watching direct address. Boy's mother love him very much. Boy's mother love him very much. Next figure of speech is hyperbole. It shows overstatement. Hyperbole means overstatement. More than reality. Overstatement. Example is I have told you to clean your room million times. Look at this example. I have told you to clean your room million times. I didn't tell here million times, but I am saying I am using here million times. Means this is overstatement. This sentence is showing overstatement. Means this is hyperbole. Next figure of speech is synecdoche. Next figure of speech is synecdoche. It shows whole or vice versa. It shows whole or vice versa. Example is England lost by 6 wickets. England lost by 6 wickets. Here we are watching vice versa. Means I am not telling England lost, not whole England, but I am telling about particular team or group of persons. But at the time of talking, I am using such sentence. England lost by 6 wickets. Didn't mean whole England. Still I am using here England. So this is vice versa. Means synecdoche. Next figure of speech is transfer epithet. Transfer epithet. In transfer epithet, quality is a transfer from one to another. Means transfer epithet. Examples are sleepless night. Sleepless night. How is night? Sleepless. How is night? Sleepless. Means sleepless, this quality is transferred towards night. Means transferred epithet. Next example. Sunburn, moth. How is moth? Sunburn. Sunburn. This transferred towards moth. Means sunburn, moth. Sleepless, night. Sleepless. This transferred towards night. Melodious, plain. How is plain? Melodious. Melodious. This transferred towards plain. Means this is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet means qualities are transferred towards another words. Means transferred epithet. Next figure of speech is euphemism. Euphemism means it shows unpleasant or disagreeable thing in soft words. Means euphemism. Examples of this figure of speech. Examples of this figure of speech are: he is telling us fairy tale. He is telling us fairy tale. Instead of telling, he is talking lie, or he is telling lie. I am using here fairy tale. Means I didn't use here lie this word. I used here fairy tale to make soft sense. He tell us fairy tale. He is telling us fairy tale. Next example, he has fallen asleep. He has fallen asleep. I used here fallen asleep instead of death. And using here fallen asleep, I reduced bitterness of this sentence. He has fallen asleep means he is dead. Next figure of speech is irony or sarcasm. Irony or sarcasm means it shows different meaning than real meaning. Example of irony or sarcasm is: the child of cobbler has no shoes. The child of cobbler has no shoes. Means here I am talking about different meaning. Means this sentence is showing irony or sarcasm different than real meaning. And this is not true that child of the cobbler has no shoes, because cobbler is created of shoe, and this is not proper of saying like this: the child of cobbler has no shoe. Still I am telling this to create irony or sarcasm, means different meaning. The police station gets robbed. Look at this sentence. The police station gets robbed. Means here meaning is different, because police station is a place where we can take protection, but sentence is telling the police station gets robbed. Means here meaning changed, or different meaning is showing in this sentence. Means this is irony or sarcasm. Next figure of speech is epigram. Epigram, this figure of speech shows couple of words which shows contradict meaning, or two words are contradict in epigram figure of speech. Example of epigram is: the child is the father of a man. The child is the father of man. In this sentence we are watching different meaning or opposite meaning. In reality, man is the father of child. But in this sentence, we are watching the child is the father of a man. Means here, two words are contradict. Meaning is contradict. Ideas are contradict. Contradict means opposite of each other. The child is father of man. This is not true, but still I am telling here the child is the father of man. But in reality, the man is the father of child. So, we are watching here two contradict things. Next example of epigram is silence sometimes more eloquent than words. The silent sometimes more eloquent than words. Silence is more eloquent than words means here we are watching contradict ideas. Different ideas. Different meaning means epigram. Next figure of speech is antithesis. Antithesis means opposite of something or different ideas are put together. Means antithesis. Let's see some examples of antithesis. Man proposes, God disposes. Man proposes, God disposes. Here two different ideas are placed together. Man proposes and God disposes. Proposes and disposes. These are two different ideas but are put together. Next figure of speech is oxymoron. It shows two contradict words with sharp effect. Example of oxymoron is darkness visible. Darkness visible. These two ideas are different, contradict, but sharp. Darkness and visible. Next example of oxymoron is make haste slowly. Make haste slowly. Haste and slowly. These are two different words. But meaning of these words are very sharp. Sharp contradict words. Make haste slowly. Haste means hurriedly, slowly, calmly. But two words are very sharp of opposite meaning. Means oxymoron. Loving hate. Look at this figure of speech. Loving hate. These two words have different meaning. Loving hate, but sharp meaning, and two words are put together. These words are sharp. So this is oxymoron. Next figure of speech, litotes. It shows positive affirmation. Means litotes. Example of litotes. He is no dullard. Means here I am showing positive affirmation. He is not dullard. I am not little. I am not little. Means here I am showing positive affirmation. He is not bad sort. Look at this example. I am showing here positive affirmation. He is not bad sort. Means this is litotes figure of speech. Next figure of speech is interrogation. Interrogation means strong question than ordinary words. Ordinary sentence means interrogation. Let's see some examples of interrogation. Example of interrogation is, who is here so while? that will not love his country? Question is, who is here so wild that will not love his country? Here I am telling in a question, but I used here strong words than ordinary words. Means this is interrogation. Next figure of speech is exclamation. Exclamation means this figure of speech shows strong expressions or feelings, means exclamation. Examples of this figure of speech are, oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon a thorn of a life. I bleed. Means here I am showing expressions. Oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon on the thorn of a life. I bleed. This figure of speech is showing expressions, feelings. Means this is exclamation figure of speech. Next figure of speech is climax. Climax. This figure of speech shows order of increasing importance. Example of climax is, he lost his cell phone, his car, and his family. He lost his cell phone, his car, and his family. Means here ideas are placed according to increasing importance. Cell phone, second, car, and third, family. Means climax. Next figure of speech is anticlimax or bathos. Anticlimax or bathos is opposite of climax. It shows descent order. It shows descent order higher to lower. Look at this descent order. He lost his family, then his car, then cell phone. Descent order means higher to lower. He lost his family, his car, and his cell phone. And anticlimax or bathos is opposite of climax. Next figure of speech, alliteration. Alliteration, this figure of speech shows repetition of same sound of letter or syllable at the beginning of two or more words, called alliteration. Example of this figure of speech are, the furrow follows. The furrow follows. Here repetition of two letters, F. Furrow follows. Next example of alliteration is glittering through the gloomy. Glittering through the gloomy. Here repetition of G letter. Glittering through the gloomy. G, G. Next figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia, it shows sound or echo. Example of this figure of speech is murmur of innumerable bees. Murmur of innumerable bees. Here we are watching sound of bees. Murmur. Murmur, this word is showing here sound. Next example, listen to the pitter-patter of the raindrops on the leaves. Listen to the pitter-patter of the raindrops on the leaves. Means here we are watching, we are listening here. Sound of the raindrops, pitter-patter. Means here onomatopoeia is showing sound or echo. Next figure of speech is circumlocution. Circumlocution, this figure of speech shows roundabout group of words. than straightforward, than simple words or limited words. It shows roundabout group of the words. Example of this figure of speech is pure an effort of imagination. Pure an effort of imagination means this is fiction, but stating here in a roundabout group of words than simple words. Next figure of speech is tautology or pleonasm. Tautology or pleonasm. Tautology, this figure of speech shows repeating of same ideas in a different words. Same ideas in a different words. Repeating same ideas in different words means tautology. Example of tautology is it is privilege and birthright of every man. It is privilege and birthright of every man. Next figure of speech is pun or paronomasia. Pun or paronomasia. So, what is pun? Pun or paronomasia, this figure of speech shows amusing use of two words. Have same sound but different meaning. Pun shows or paronomasia, this figure of speech shows amusing use of two words. The words have different meaning but same sound and used amusingly to create amusement. Example of pun is two silkworms had a race and ended in a tie. Tie, this word has two meanings. Tie means piece of cloth and tie means end in the same way, in the same quality. Piece of a cloth, one meaning. Tie, this word has two meanings. First, piece of a cloth, and second, had no one. Means both have ended in the same way. Tie, this is same word but have different meaning. Different to meaning. Next figure of speech is periphrasis. Periphrasis means use of indirect or circumlocutory speech. Periphrasis means indirect or circumlocutory speech. Circumlocutory speech means writing in a descriptive mode, using more words or using more description. A big man upstairs hears your prayers. A big man upstairs hears your prayers. In this sentence, we are watching description with the help of more words. Next figure of speech is assonance. Assonance means repetition of vowel sound. This figure of speech shows repetition of vowel sound. Whereas rhyme is a repetition of both vowel and consonant. But assonance, this figure of speech shows only repetition of vowels. Example of assonance is hear the mellow wedding bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells. Here repetition of vowel E. Hear the mellow wedding bells. Next example, try to light the fire. Here, repetition of I. Vowel, I. Try to light the fire. Next figure of speech, fable. Fable shows moral, conveys moral. Example of fable is slow and steady win the race. Slow and steady win the race. Here we are watching moral. In this sentence, conveying moral. Next figure of speech, parable. Parable means it's like fable, but here moral lesson at the end of the story. Parable. Example, concealing truth. Next figure of speech, paradox. Shows contradict itself, means paradox. Let's see example of paradox. Life is too much important to be taken seriously. Life is too much important to be taken seriously. Means here we are watching contradict ideas. Here is a contradict sense itself, means paradox. Next figure of speech, insinuation. Insinuation, this figure of speech shows blame, shows criticize. Insinuation, this figure of speech shows blame or criticism. Then direct sentence or direct talking, means here criticizing opponents. Used insinuation than direct speech. Example, he insinuates his doubt of her ability. He insinuates his doubt of her ability. In this video, we have seen about figure of speech, how to identify figure of speech. Other information related grammar you can watch in my other videos.